Hello again everyone, my name is James Shotwell. This is the Music Biz channel, and today we're going to talk about music publicity. Now I know a lot of artists that are out there looking for the perfect music PR to take their career to the next level, but no one ever stops to ask what PR is looking for. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I've been working in music promotion for the past decade. My job at Holics gives me access to see how hundreds of record labels, independent artists, and publicity teams all over the world promote new music. And I've probably seen about every version of a PR campaign possible. And what I've learned is that 9 times out of 10, you need a publicist. I know that there are plenty of articles and videos, many of which I've probably contributed to, about how you can do this whole career thing on your own. But there are certain things in business that if you can afford an expert, you should pay for an expert. And I think music publicity is one of those things. But what I've been learning from more and more conversations with publicists is that what frustrates them is not finding a great artist that doesn't know what they're doing. It's finding a great artist who isn't ready for the next phase in their career. So today I'm going to tell you everything that you need to make sure you're ready for a music PR campaign. Right off the top, this is probably obvious, so let's just get it out of the way. Publicists need all of the basic information. They need to know the who, what, where, when, why, and how of it all. They need to know who you are. If you're a part of a group, they need to know who the point of contact is. I know that in a lot of groups, everyone has an equal say, but you still need a representative. You still need one person who has the authority to speak for the band. That way, if something is happening and the publicist needs a quick answer, they can turn to that one person and get a yes or a no, rather than turning to them and then they go to everyone else and the opportunity is gone by the time you get everyone together. You need a representative. You also need to be able to tell them where you're from, what kind of music you make. You need to tell them all of your social channels. And here's one that a lot of people don't consider, but most publicists that I speak to say is a necessity, and that is having all of your distribution figured out. If you don't have music on Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal right now, yet you want to hire a publicist to promote your next album, you're already doing things out of order. These are basic things that you should take care of and are not the responsibility of that publicist. What they are looking for before they take on any client is a level of quality control. They want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, so to say. And having your distribution set up is part of that, just like having all of your social channels established and having promotional photos for your music and knowing what it is that you want to hire a publicist for. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. Going right along with what I would consider to be a basic thing that you need for a PR campaign, but seems to elude a lot of people, is having a goal in mind. Now, you might want to work with a publicist for your new album, but that publicist might not work in the genre of music that you prefer, or they might not actually be a publicist who deals with albums. There are people who just specialize in tours, and some people who specialize in singles, and some people who specialize in albums, and some publicists do all of them, and some publicists only work with people in the metal genre, and some do all of them. And all of these things you need to know going in, because if you try to hire a publicist from a genre that you aren't in for a project that they don't do, it's not going to go very well. You're going to waste everyone's time. You're going to look very unprofessional. So again, part of having your ducks in a row is knowing the type of campaign you need and giving the publicist more than enough time to do it well. Let me give you an example. Something that I see happen a lot is that an artist will come to me and say, hey, we have a brand new single. We want to release it within the next month and I need a publicist to promote it. Well, already you've thrown up a big red flag. You want to put it out in the next month. Most publicists would like a little bit of runway. Now, 4 weeks is a minimum, but most would put that minimum at least 6 weeks. They need a little bit of time because they have to establish who you are. They might have a big network of contacts, but those contacts might not know you. And it takes time to build that familiarity and establish enough trust that they're going to click on your music and maybe check out what's coming. So in addition to giving them all the basic materials, you need to give them time. You need to be able to tell them, we are working on a new album. It'll be ready in X amount of time, and then we want to start promoting it. Or we have an album ready and we're looking to release it in X date or in a few months, and we're looking for a publicist for that. If you come to somebody with a firm date that is too close for how they like to do things, it's going to be an immediate no. So a little bit of flexibility, but also just a basic understanding of how much time these things take will get you a long way. Okay, now that we have all the deliverables out of the way, that would be your music, your timeline, all your basic information, I want to dig a little bit deeper. Because if you remember earlier in the video, I mentioned that publicists always use quality control when choosing their clients. And part of that usually involves asking certain questions. Now, these questions can vary from publicist to publicist, but there are a few common ones that I've heard through my discussions with people. And the first one is, does that artist know who they are and what they're trying to do? And what I mean by that is, Are you an artist who has established enough as a creative person to know what it is that you're trying to accomplish? Do you know what your music is? Can you describe it to a stranger? Could you tell a person on the street what it is you do with confidence? And the second thing, the second half of that, is what is it you're trying to do? So maybe you're going on tour. Well, going on tour isn't an endpoint. That is part of a bigger thing that you're working on. What are you trying to do? Because if you're hiring a publicist, you should have at least one, but preferably 2 or 3 end goals in mind. So at the end of this 6-week, 3-month, 6-month, 1-year campaign, I want to have X amount of albums sold, X amount of new fans, I want to have press in these places. You got to set these goals. And that all comes with planning and knowing where you're headed. If you try to hire a publicist by saying we have a new album out, we'd like to get it out there, they're going to ask you what your goals are. And if you don't have answers, that might make them not want to work with you because again, a publicist is only as good as the artist that they're working with. They cannot make mountains out of a molehill. They can't take somebody who's not ready for the spotlight and push them into it because that's just not how it works. The system, you may think that it happens like that things just happen overnight and people who aren't prepared to be major superstars just end up becoming them, but it's really not. It's really not, especially in the world of rock and hip hop and anything that requires a team of people to get it done. It requires so much more work. There is no miracles like that. So if you're not ready with the basic information, if you don't know who you are and what you're doing, you're not ready for a publicist. And they might not have the heart to tell you that. They might just stop replying to you or they might just say no, but that's the reality of the situation. But here's the good news, friends. If you have all those deliverables, if you have established yourself online by setting up your distribution and getting social channels, if you know who you are and what it is you're trying to accomplish with your next record, and of course, you've allowed for plenty of time to build a perfect campaign and start to establish some recognition with the major outlets, well, guess what? You are what publicists are looking for. But there are still some hurdles that you have to overcome, okay? Not all publicists will work with independent artists, and those that do are often very high in demand. So if you can find a referral, that's always a good way to get in. And if you don't know anyone that's used a publicist in the past, well, you could always do the old networking trick of reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I really like your music. I noticed that your last album seemed to do a lot better than the one before that. What changed? And they'll probably come back and say, well, we used a publicist, and you could be like, oh, I need a publicist, and you could get a referral from that. But at the end of the day, what a publicist is looking for is for an artist who has everything they need to succeed except for a firm grasp of what to do in the world of PR. And that doesn't mean that they're an idiot when it comes to PR, that they don't know how to market themselves. It's that this publicist recognizes that by joining this artist in the campaign to release this album or go on tour, that what they add to the artist's overall value lifts it up without devaluing their skill set. And how we devalue their skill set is by trying to hire a publicist when we're not ready. If we try to tell somebody that has worked with major label artists that they should work with us, a person who doesn't have any press photos and still doesn't have streaming distribution. You can see how that could be maybe offensive to some people. Now, I hope this video is a help to you, but if you need even more advice on how to get the attention of publicists, how to prepare for publicists, or even how to answer those questions, who am I and what am I trying to accomplish in my career? Well, guess what? That's why this channel exists. Music Biz is here to help you navigate the modern industry. That includes covering trends, how-tos, what's happening with social media, what we can learn from the biggest stars of today, and who's going to be the biggest stars of tomorrow. All of that and so much more are covered here on this channel every single week, and I want you to be a part of it. I'm here every week. Hundreds of people are here every week, and we want you to join us. So please, if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button. It costs you nothing, and it would do so much to help me and this community thrive. So please click that button. And if you already have, well, thanks for sticking around to the end of another video. I bet that this year is going well for you so far, and if it's not, I bet it'll turn around soon. Please comment below and let me know what you're working on. Do you have a new single? Do you have a new album? Are you applying for jobs? Are you in college? Let me know. I would love to cheer you on and support you in whatever ways possible. And don't worry, I'll be back again very soon. We're going to be putting out 2 videos a week, every week for the foreseeable future. So please check back soon. And until then, I'll leave you with this. No matter what you do with your life, no matter where you go or who you choose to become, please take care of yourself because you deserve it.